The burning question of so many Catholic parents, what do I do with these dang kids? How do I get my teenager engaged in the faith? Well, we're going to answer it today on the Chris Stefanick Show. Oh, yeah, and we're also going to blow your mind with a reflection about Jesus as a teenager. Welcome to the Chris Stefanick Show. We are here for you, yes you, every week, to give you the tools and inspiration you need to live the faith in your everyday life with joy. I want to thank our missionaries of joy. It's because of you that this mission is possible. And everybody who's watching, every one of you, click below this video, sign up for the Daily Anchor. We want to bless and inspire you every day of your life for free, no strings attached. This episode is sponsored in part by EWTN. You can catch this and so much more on EWTN Plus streaming. Link is below in the show notes. If there's an experience most people don't want to revisit, the first one would be their colonoscopy. The second one would be the entirety of their teenage years. People want to forget that even happened, especially the junior high part of their teenage years. And yet the concern about teenagers is often front and center. If you go to a church like council meeting, dealing with problems in the church, it's always going to come up pretty quickly. What do we do with teenagers? They're not interested. And they're driving their confirmation teachers crazy. But then parents too. You're watching your parent, your grandparent, you're wondering how do I frankly stay sane navigating the waters of teenagehood in my house that are turning everything upside down. But also, how do I get my kid engaged in the faith? I mean, it's one of the biggest faith questions that we get most frequently. How do I keep my teenager engaged? Well, we have the guy who knows the answer to that question. If he can't, no one can. Bob Rice.
Oh, the world is in trouble.
Oh, man. Wasn't that scary when you realize like you're the adult and now people are looking to you? It's like, oh, wait, that happened really fast.
Yeah.
And it makes me feel really afraid for all of humanity. Bob is a deacon.
Yes.
Bob is a doctor.
Yes.
But not the kind you go to with appendicitis.
No. Or a colonoscopy.
Or colonoscopy. Unless it's an emergency situation.
Yeah.
And then you're a professor of theology at our alma mater,
That's
Franciscan University of Steubenville.
Absolutely.
But specifically of catechs evangelization, you're teaching how to do youth ministry.
Yes.
So you dwell in this, and you've been doing youth ministry for how long?
30 years. Really in different capacities. I was a parish youth minister for, when I met you in Steubenville in the 90s, I was leading youth ministries for different parishes in Steubenville. And then I was, moved upstate New York to a parish where I was a full-time youth minister. And when they hired me at Franciscan, the specific thing was, we want you to teach people how to do youth ministry.
Wow.
But I kept involved with it and speaking and doing
When you say
stuff.
the
It's a
90s, I
gift.
just realized right away how old you are.
That's right.
I mean, I didn't.
Not you, of course.
No,
You were
but
like 5.
back in the 90s, and we were doing youth ministry.
Exactly.
I got
Flannel t-shirts in summer.
That's right,
Miss
man.
those days. Angst.
That's
Bring back the
I'm
angst.
so angry.
That's right. For no reason.
Yeah, and you couldn't distract yourself with a phone.
Nah, true.
You just had to sit there and be angsty.
That's why we were angsty.
But it was good for us. Like we actually,
It was a healthy angst.
yeah, you had to actually deal with your fundamental questions about the meaning of life instead of
Right.
just scrolling them away,
Yeah, true.
which was actually good for youth ministry.
To not have phones?
Yeah, when people
absolutely.
faced the questions, it's like, how do I work my way through this?
Well, actually,
Maybe I
what
could use
was
some help.
great about no phones is that kids were bored more.
Yeah.
So, like, going to a youth group on Sunday night, they'd be like, well, I don't have anything else to do. Now it's like, no, I got to watch The Office for the 15th time in a row. Like, it's tough to compete with that,
Did you talk to my son before? Did you literally?
No, I did not.
You did not? That's hilarious. He's watching in the sound booth because he's a fan of yours.
Oh, nice.
He's at Steubenville. He's 19. Joey, how many times did you watch The Office? 15? Was it 15? He literally shaking and said, yes, you nailed it. He literally has
There you
watched
go.
the entirety of The Office 15 times.
Yeah.
Now, don't worry, he's also a well-balanced child, mostly.
Sure, right.
Has a lot of hobbies, holy, cool kid. But every day he come home from like 8th grade to senior
The
year,
Office.
just hit play on 1 or maybe 10 episodes. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. But yeah, there was that, like the facing of these questions, and also the lack of fake community.
Yeah.
I mean, people feel already connected at all times through their phone in their pocket, but they're not connected.
Right.
But back when it was like, hey, come to youth group, it's like, well, where else am I going to see everybody?
True. Yeah, if they want to see everybody. I mean, I think
Yeah.
there's definitely been, Jonathan Haidt, who wrote a great book called The Anxious Generation.
Jonathan
talked
who?
about Haidt, H-A-I-D-T.
Okay, I would change my pronunciation. Jonathan is just a PR piece of advice.
Oh, yeah.
If you're watching.
Right, yeah. And from a guy named Stefanick, by the way. So.
Well, my name belongs in the back of a hockey jersey.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Right?
Yeah, totally.
Like, I don't know. Like, I worked my way into a different kind of career, but I
Right.
could see, like, I should have missing teeth.
Yeah.
Stefanick, get the puck! Anyway,
right.
Go ahead, sorry.
So he wrote a book called The Anxious Generation, and if there was any question about the connection of young people's anxiety and cell phone use, he completely makes it very clear, blows it out of the water, and has a lot of really good advice in terms of helping young people navigate things, like social media and phones. One of the mottos of that book is to try to encourage communities. They just say, wait until 8, which is wait until 8th grade. And he found that the only way you can really get young people off phones at an earlier age, at least, is if the community agrees we are not going to give our kids phones, because it's just a couple that have them, and it's always all my friends have them, and then as a parent, you don't want your kid to be the ostracized one that can't talk to people or do things, but it's such an unhealthy thing for their development. It's directly connected to the fact that young people, their mental health is off the charts. Of course, COVID accelerated all of that when suddenly all of their school interactions for, a good period of time were just sitting down and looking at screens. And you're right, what they really desire, even if they don't know it, are authentic relationships. But that's frightening. Like, to be real is frightening, especially when you've been able, in a sense, to hide behind a screen.
Hey there, I just wanted to share something really important with you guys real quick. You know what's crazy? This entire show, every episode, every conversation, every life changed, only happens because of our supporters. The Chris Stefanick Show is powered by people like you, people who believe in spreading the joy of the gospel. Now here's the deal. Each year we reach millions of people, but there are millions more that have not received not just the good, but the great news of the gospel. We want to reach those people, walk with them, and that's where you come in. When you become a monthly donor, a missionary of joy, you're not just donating, you're actually making this mission possible. You're helping us bring the hope, truth, and joy of the gospel to a world that desperately needs it. And that's not all. As a missionary of joy, you get exclusive access to all our video series, including Living Joy, Rise, Renewed, Fearless, and more. You get exclusive early access to new releases. You get Monday motivation texts direct from me. And you get access to our daily anchor, daily inspiration to fuel your faith. The truth is, the gospel is too good to keep to ourselves. If this show or our work has encouraged you, challenged you, or strengthened your faith, imagine how many more lives we can change together. Don't just watch the mission, fuel it. Click the link below and become a monthly donor today. It'll be the best investment you make this year.
Like, to be real is frightening, especially when you've been able, in a sense, to hide behind a screen for a while.
Yeah, and then you only present what you want to present to the world.
Right.
All your friendships are actually under your control, because
Yeah, you
if
can
you don't
block people if you don't like them.
just delete the person's existence from your life.
Right.
And it's the misery. I talked to a friend who, a counselor who's working at Columbine High School currently, but as a veteran, was actually there for the school shooting.
Okay.
She said the kids today she's counseling are far more anxious than the kids who she was counseling right after the shooting, who were literally there.
Yeah.
Like, what? I mean, we're driving ourselves nuts. This generation is driving itself crazy just from endless amounts of scrolling.
Well, and I would have to argue that they're really victims of the culture, and I think sometimes that's not said enough. It's easy to always be madder at a younger generation, to insult them, to degrade them. What's their problem?
I think we should do that
Why
for
are
the
they
rest
doing
of the show.
Let's
it is
do that.
easier.
That's what I was actually hoping we would go
Good.
there.
Let's go there.
Because I'm tired of all this nice.
Totally.
But young people, I think, are just absolutely victimized by technology, by social media. You want to go deeper down a rabbit hole of things like pornography. We have so few laws that actually protect children online. There's other places in the world where they can't access pornography online, and it's not just click, are you over 18? Like, you actually have to show age verification.
Wow.
Now, in our country, they say we could absolutely do it. It's so ridiculous, because part of the argument is like, well, how could we do that? I don't know. Can my 12-year-old order beer online? Like, we stop that right away.
Right.
Or they'll say things like, well, people upload pornography and, that's just, we can't stop it. And once it's out there, it's out there. Okay. Try uploading a 5-minute clip of The Lion King. See how quickly you are going to get shut off. Like
100%.
we have all the technology to do this. We don't, because there's just too much money behind it.
Yeah.
And so young people are truly victimized by consumerism. This is where, all the social media stuff, all the advertisements. It is said that a teenager, by the time they're 12, will see over 1 million advertisements in their
Lord
life.
have
1
mercy.
million. It's a staggering number. And what does every advertisement say? There's something wrong with you, but if you spend money, you'll be
You
happy.
could be like Bob.
And so they become jaded. They're continually seeing people who are more attractive, more funny, more beautiful than they are. They're being bombarded by all these messages of you're not enough, you're never enough, you need this medicine, you need this look, you need this, that, and the other stuff. And then you just get to all the horrible sin stuff of pornography and gender confusion, and they're swimming in this mess, and they need adults to help them out of it. I mean, in some ways, it's that idea of like social justice, right? Like you've got to work it with the individual, and then you've got to go back to the beginning and say, how can we stop this, from happening in the first place? But I think when I talk to people, adults at least, about younger people, what's often missing is a sense of empathy for young people. And part of what I'm trying to say, maybe for viewers out there who might think, yeah, young people, what's their problem? They've inherited this cultural thing that we've completely let go. I mean, it's the wolves are in the sheep den, and we're just, wondering what's their problem? Why aren't they doing that?
Yeah, and the amount of, I was actually literally just reading the book, The Anxious Generation.
Yeah.
The amount of pressure they're under from the time that they have their social media profile. And a parent thinks, well, that's kind of harmless. They have to have one.
Right.
And actually, no, it's not harmless. Half their brain is managing an online brand.
Yeah.
I mean, I know from managing a company, a ministry, like there's a pressure when you have a digital persona. No, I'm the same me in my house that I am on whatever.
Right.
But regardless, what are people saying about this? How is it impacting the brand? What's happening to the ministry? I have to have employees to feed. I mean, the kids are in 8th grade with that kind of pressure.
Yeah.
At all times, digging away at the back of their psyche. Have you read iGen by Jean Twenge?
Yeah.
Phenomenal,
Absolutely.
right? Yeah. She shared how 2016, the first year that Gen Z, or iGen, I think it should be called iGen. They grew up with a phone
it's
in
not
their
going to
hand.
happen. So.
Yeah, I know, whatever. We're in here in this show, it's iGen. First year they entered college, over half of them self-reported as feeling below average in mental health.
Yeah.
I mean, what have we done?
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people, sociologists, will attribute that all to the phone and just to the distractibility and to the frantic pace of the brain. That the average attention span used to be 12 seconds. It is now 8 seconds. A goldfish's attention span is 9 seconds.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how you teach as a professor with this, man. I mean,
A lot of song and dance.
yeah, I'm over here.
A lot
Hey, I'm
of
over
jazz,
here. Hey, guys,
jazz
what's
hands.
up?
Jazz
Ja-
hands, yeah.
It's all about the jazz hands.
Right.
And the cross clap. And
Yeah,
the,
of course. Oh, yeah.
hand motions during the entire.
Yeah, it's the whole thing.
Lord, I lift your name.
Yeah. Yeah.
Vintage youth ministry. Bring it back.
Yeah.
Bring back
That's
the
right.
hand motions.
That's right. I'm trading my sorrows.
That's right.
Yeah, all that stuff.
But there's the distractibility, the franticness, the managing the online brand. All this impacts faith, though, and I think that's the biggest cause of that angst, of the depression, of the anxiety, of the self-unsurety and loathing, is when the big fundamental questions aren't even asked.
Yeah.
You just can't go on developmentally and be happy, right?
Right.
So this is what we're dealing with. This is what we're dealing with. This is what you've seen develop in 30 years in youth ministry.
Yeah.
Before, I want to dive into how the methods for actually reaching kids with the gospel has changed.
Okay.
To accommodate that, the soup that we just kicked up. Like, how do we even
Right.
make sense of this? Because otherwise, we could just wrap the show here and be like, total despair, God bless, see ya.
Yeah.
Before we do that, though, we're combining this social craziness with an inherent craziness that just comes with the adolescent years
Yes.
that people have always had to deal with. Can you tease that out for us a bit? Because you've studied this on a not just a sociological level, but a human level too. What's happening?
Yeah.
Most parents are like wondering. Like, I suddenly have a moose in my house that's like the legs are too long and there's one antlers and it's knocking
Right.
everything over. Like what is happening in a kid's
Well,
neurology and body.
it starts in biology, and I think that's always a really important place to start because it's easy to forget how dramatically we change when we hit puberty. You know, the biggest growth spurt in your life is when 0 to 2, and the next one is 11 to 13. Those are your two most radical emotional, biological, mental changes happen between 0 to 2 and 11 to 13.
Really?
Yeah.
I was cracking my voice on purpose.
Yeah, it's time to change. Yeah. A little Brady Bunch throwback there.
I know. My staff watching in the sound booth has no idea what that was referencing, right?
Yeah.
Brendan, you don't know? No idea. Okay.
Anybody, somebody at home.
Genevieve knows. Excellent.
Woo, you raised her well.
I did.
You raised her well.
Sha-na-na-na-na-na-na.
Oh, yeah, man.
Sha-na-na-na-na. Sorry.
But these are the changes that happen, right? It's not just physical is the obvious. What often isn't too obvious is the mental, the cognitive, the spiritual. That's why ministering to young people is so important because they develop abstract thought. So initially they're just, hey, God exists. Great. Hey, when you die, you go see Jesus. Great. I mean, they just accept everything at face value and they don't really think about it too much. You get into the adolescence, and the adolescent brain for the first time asks, like, what happens when I die? Why? What is my place in the world? Like, what am I doing here? Like, they're not asking that at 9 or 10, but they're, like, lying awake at night at 11 or 12 because this is a whole new idea to them. Something we really don't take enough into consideration would be sexual drives. 9-year-olds, not really. 11 or 12-year-olds, yeah, and it can happen really quick, and they turn a corner on it. And obviously, you know, one of the things we need to keep helping young people with is understanding sexuality, because for some of them, even 6 months earlier, they didn't even think about this or wonder about this. And now it's all they can think about because that's just where biology is driving them. I took my 11-year-old to see Minecraft, which was exactly as advertised.
Okay,
you know,
I didn't see it.
The Minecraft movie, yeah.
Was it great? Or
it was a Minecraft movie.
Literally?
I think if you like Minecraft,
then you'll love this movie.
You'll think it's a great movie.
Okay.
And if you're not a fan of Minecraft, it won't convert you.
Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of like Battlefield Earth, right? You know, if you're a Scientologist, it's great. Otherwise, no one's going to like it. Another very I didn't expect. What mentioned Battlefield Earth.
Keep losing me.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
He's going off into the distance.
I am. I'm going way down the rabbit hole. But what was I even saying? I don't remember. Biology, 11-year-olds, Minecraft. So I was with...
See, because we're dealing now with the 50-year-old mind. It's like, there's a lot of things in the files, and that one was an awesome one. Where is the file?
Who has a 9-second attention span? So I took him to see Minecraft. There was, you know, him and his two friends. And I was just doing little tests, you know, just to see where they were. You know, so we had like, who's the greatest soccer player? Who's the best whatever? And I said, who's the cutest girl in your school? And they all went, ah! And I was like, all right, it hasn't happened yet. That's great. Yeah. But I know like 6 months from now, I might get awkward silences or I might get, well, you know, and that's part of entering into adolescence. That's why like having people who care for them, mentor them, because we are so bad at, say, as a church about talking about things like sex and the body and other things, whereas their phones, they're going to, anything they need to know, they'll just Google it, they'll ask the AI about it, and it'll give a very distorted perspective of what that is. So this is all part of, again, what's kind of being rewired in them and as they're growing into it. Adolescents on the younger end of things are really looking for community, to find their identity in community. And then as they get more into like 15 and 16, it's more about being independent. Somebody characterized it as pre-adolescents ask the question, whose am I? And later adolescents ask, who am I? They're going from everything's about their friends around them. You know, like, you know, you remember your mom saying, well, if they all jumped off a cliff, would you? For most pre-adolescents, the answer would be, yeah.
100%.
Yeah, absolutely, because
I might be the first to go.
They're identifying themselves based on who they're hanging out with and what that's about. And to be different is painful at that age. And then they get older, and suddenly they're really trying to find their look. They're trying to find their identity. What's difficult for parents is, in a natural way, they need a break from their parents to answer some of those questions.
To
And
differentiate themselves.
to differentiate themselves. And that's
I'm not you.
That's a healthy part of growing up, and it's a hard part as a parent. I experienced it as a parent of 7 kids, but at least I knew things were coming. I talked to other parents, and this little kid that used to sit on the couch next to me and we'd watch whatever TV show and do stuff together suddenly is coming home and going right up to their room. What's their problem? What's going on? The biology shifts all of their clocks, so they become nocturnal. They don't get up in the morning. It really is just a crazy mess what happens in adolescence. And understanding some of that basic biology stuff, I find to be one of the most helpful things in terms of, well, how do we deal with the young person? The first thing is, well, don't treat them like they were 10 or 11. You've got to start helping them. And part of helping them is trying to plug them into some different communities because they are looking, it's not personal. I keep saying it's not personal, but they need to differentiate their own I so that they can become an individual. And that can be hard to get our heads around, I think.
When you think about where we started talking about the internet and that biological and developmental reality, you see how harmful the internet can become.
Yes.
Because there was something there's something called youth culture that didn't even exist throughout almost all of human history.
Right.
It was just, here's another human who's part of our community.
Yeah.
Who's going through a really weird phase, just like we all did. But let's pretend it didn't happen.
Right.
But now now you insert marketing into, I need to differentiate myself from my parents. And it instantly becomes, well, here's how you do that.
Yeah.
Your parents are super lame.
Yeah.
Here's how you're supposed to dress. Here's how you're supposed to talk. And it's a rebellious weirdness. And they're just trying to figure themselves out. And marketing agencies are happy to tell them who to be.
Absolutely. Yeah, they're desperate to find out. And right, it's really, the American teenager has more money at their disposal than like anything else on planet Earth. Wow. So of course, all of the corporations are asking the question, how do we get teenagers? How do we get teenagers? How do we get teenagers?
And that's what we need to ask as a church.
I wish. You're right. Sadly, the world cares more for teenagers than many times the church does, at least in terms of the outreach and the effort and the resources that are being put into it. Because as you're saying about culture, one psychologist said that adolescence begins in biology, but it ends in culture. That entering into adolescence is really entering into a completely different world. And young people, are in their own world. Another author, his name is Chap Clark, would go so far to say is, young people are abandoned by society. We put them in schools, we institutionalize them. Adults, we want nothing to do with them. Yeah. We only swoop in if there's a problem, but then we leave. They're surrounded by other adults. And that may or may not be positive. I know there's some school systems where there's really loving teachers and they can find some caring people. But more often than not, it's somebody that's working at a public school and they're sick of these kids and we're just going to move on from things. Oh, yeah. One of the closest connections that young people often say they have is with their coach.
Interesting.
But it's a performance-based one, right? Because if you're not good, you don't make the team. The A students can have great relationships with their teachers, but you get to some of these massive high schools, and these kids are anonymous, in these environments. And really, it feels like we just kind of throw young people into general population, and we don't, as adults, we don't want to see them or have anything to do with them until maybe they're in their mid-20s or something like that. And that's part of why youth culture exists. It's because there was a vacuum, and it got created in this vacuum, where we now over-school kids and just put them on a treadmill for things.
Wow.
And then they just end up mid-20s horribly in debt and not sure who they are.
I love the word you used earlier, just compassion, empathy.
Yeah.
This is where mission work should start.
Yes.
It's to see the person you're dealing with and to recognize. It's a good reminder for me as a parent with a teen in my house, or 2 teens in my house. Yeah. It's been a long road, man.
Yeah.
when you have kids from for like a good 15-year span, it's like the teenage years you're living in them for a very long time.
Yeah.
But a good reminder, like this, it's not easy.
Yeah.
It's not easy. You're internally you're exploding.
Yeah.
And society's placed all this crazy stuff on you. And so when people come with, here's the answer, and it doesn't start with listening and compassion, it's always going to go the wrong way.
Right.
And I can see this all over the place now. Everybody thinks, they have the answer for
Yeah.
just just teach them the truth.
Right.
And yes, of course. Or just don't bother with the truth. Just listen and have compassion. Well, yeah, kind of. But there's not just one or the other here. I've been hearing this a lot lately, that kids are just, the young people are just drawn back to the traditions of the church. We just got to do that, and then they'll just come. Yeah. And, I mean, that's really wishful thinking, but it's 100% not true.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, you will find traditional parishes that have a good population at them of young adults who've traveled an hour to get there, and gives you the delusion that all of society is going this way. I'm sure you saw the Pew research about, for every 100 people that enter the church, 840 leave. And they also broke that down more specifically, and they found that 32% of those who leave become Protestant.
Interesting.
So for every 100 that enter, 269 are actually staying Christian but becoming something less traditional.
Yeah.
So, by 2.5, more than 2.5 times more are saying, actually, I'm not interested in tradition. 56% become nuns, and that's 470 of the 840 who left become nuns who would say, I'm not any particular religion. But they're not even becoming atheists.
Right.
They're still vaguely spiritual. So if anything, the numbers are pointing to less tradition, less form, more amorphous.
It's more of a deism.
Yeah,
you find a lot of them. Like, I think God exists. I think He created the world. I just don't think He's very active in it.
Yeah, that's it.
He's kind of left us on our own. He might swoop in every once in a while and help, but generally, He's not really present. I would say that, whether it's going to a Protestant church or going to a traditional church, vibrant community is what they're looking for. Like, that's some of the things that some of the more traditional places have. It's not just about the language that the liturgy is celebrated in. Like, everyone's coming from hours around. If you're coming for a few hours to get to something, it must really mean something to you. And so there's a vibrancy and a passion, but you can see that, not only in a Latin Rite church. I mean, we see that at Franciscan.
Yeah.
Like,
we're going to conduct the rest of this interview in Latin, by the way.
Yeah.
Switch gears now.
Exactly.
Go.
So that is, but that's what they're looking for. They're looking for something that's alive. They're looking for something that's welcoming. There was a really fascinating book by Kara Powell called Growing Young. And it was a survey of religious congregations that were going younger in age, not older. Because for most everybody, they're all getting older. And they first eliminated any demographics of just, they opened a Google factory there, and so now a bunch of young people are there. Like, they just tried to really stick with, community churches, Protestant and Catholic, that are going younger. And one of the things they found when they talked to the young people that went there was what they wanted most wasn't a rock show, wasn't smoke and lights. That's sometimes the older person's stereotype of it. They wanted to feel welcomed. Their phrase was, warm is the new cool, which is they want a place where people know who they are glad that they're there, invite them to be active in the community. In their high school life, you just think of a junior and senior, how much responsibility they're given in the high school. They're given a lot. Yeah. We don't trust them with anything in the parish. That might be an exaggeration, but we don't have a place for them. And that's not a Catholic problem, it's a society problem. Society has no place for young people.
Wow.
You're supposed to be in that building over there. Why don't you just stay there?
Yeah.
And so that culture just perpetuates itself as they go into college, and they really don't have any interaction with parish life. Many parishes treat, even the ones that have youth ministry programs, it can almost be like that's the kids' table that you're supposed to. They have a very different experience of it. And some parishes, even if they hire a youth minister, it's almost like they're abdicating the responsibility of the parish to evangelize young people by hiring somebody to do some activities in another room with them.
And then we're done. Just like school.
Yeah, as opposed to being an advocate in the community to say, yes, we definitely need some separate programming for young people to evangelize them, especially, like they're going to start off wanting to be amongst themselves. But what can we do in the rest of the parish to get them involved, to make everything, the phrase, from the 90s was a youth-friendly parish. But I still think that's a good phrase. And another thing about growing young, the other characteristic they found is that all of these communities that are growing younger is because they're intentionally doing so. They say this community, the first priority is reaching out to youth and young adults.
Really?
That's the parish we're going to be. And we're going to make decisions based on that. Again, not the stereotype veneer of rock music and cool fonts and other things like
Papyrus.
yeah, right.
It's all
right.
about papyrus.
How can we be welcoming? How can we be mindful? Like liturgies should have some reflection of teenagers in them, even if it's something as simple as during the intercessions. And we pray this week for our high school students who are in the middle of midterms. Like just acknowledging they exist and that we know what they're doing is huge. Most teenagers go to mass and everything's directed towards the 30 and 40-year-olds in the room.
Yeah.
And the kids are screaming in the cry room.
And they come in feeling alone.
And they come in feeling alone, and they leave feeling alone.
Yeah, and they come in with bombarded with ads that convince them that they're not good enough, and with an internal body experience that convinces them they're weird and no one else is like them.
Yeah, they're already awkward. They're already super insecure. Already very sensitive. And many times, whenever there's something said about young people or youth culture, it's negative. It's always their fault. It's always, why are you guys doing? I can't believe. Can you believe this? Can you believe that? And there's no empathy, there's no mentoring, there's no, we're here for you, we know it's hard. I mean, just some of those messages I rarely hear in faith communities, unfortunately.
I want to talk more about what can we do?
Yeah.
What do we do more specifically in parishes, but also as parents and grandparents or anybody who wants to be involved in youth ministry? Yeah. Which again, most people are running away from just because they don't feel empowered. They don't feel like they know what to do. They look at the mess like, what the heck? I don't know. And Bob, again, when you were kind of mentoring me as a young youth minister, which is when my first 5-6 years in ministry was all youth ministry, and then diocesan youth ministry for another 9. So it's like that's the foundation, right? One of the greatest pieces of advice you gave me, and by the way, Barbara Morgan said, "Don't be a lone ranger. Call somebody regularly." So you were my guy who I called regularly for advice. It's my man, Bob, and really, I couldn't have done it without you, man.
Oh, praise God.
Really, I'm really grateful. But you told me when you're recruiting people, and make that your first priority, get a team of people to do this with you. Yeah. Because each person can maybe make 3 kids feel really welcome. Yeah. So make your life about ministering to the 20 people on your team, and each of them has got 3 kids, and all of a sudden 60 kids were showing up every week minimum, Right. And it wasn't rocket science. Yeah. It's multi-level marketing.
That's right.
And then we sold the kids Amway. Yeah. Do you have soap delivered to your door?
That's right.
Why not? But you told me when you're recruiting somebody, don't ever tell them this isn't going to require much of your time.
Right.
Because why would I give any time to something that's meaningless or hopeless that won't require much of my time? I don't have 5 minutes extra for something meaningless. So tell them this is going to take a lot of your time, a lot of your heart, and you're going to change lives with me. You want to do that?
Yeah, you're right. The normal thing is you hear this announcement at the end of a mass with someone who looks a little bit frazzled, and we're like, we just need anybody who can breathe. Can anybody here breathe?
And got 5 extra minutes?
Yeah, it'll be 45 minutes, I swear, not more than that, but we just need to, and it becomes like this minimalist thing. As I shared with you, the idea is the Lord is putting on the hearts of the parishioners a desire to reach young people. Do you have that call? If so, I can help you with that. I always felt my role as a parish youth minister wasn't just to do ministry with young people, it was to empower the parish to do ministry with young people. Now, I was leading the way. I think you could take that another extreme, like, well, I don't talk to young people. No, I'm going to be right in there with everybody. But it is that idea that I want to help people respond to God's call. I think just by the fact that you get this question a lot, this shows that there's a lot of people in the pew who care. And they just don't know what to do about it. And they just need some help. Like, how do I do this?
Yeah, what do we do? In most parish youth ministries across most of the country, people would say, it's kind of lame. My kid doesn't really want to go. Right. How do we save that?
Well, I do think that, at least for Catholics, programs are a great place to start. Yeah. Especially in junior high. I would say that, the pre-adolescent loves, generally speaking, bigger group meetings are really attractive because that's how they're finding their identity. And then maybe that still works when they're freshmen, but then when you're getting a little bit later, well, now you need to be in more small group ministries that's really speaking to their specific needs. What is their relationship with the Lord? What is their vocation? Helping them discern things like that. And I don't just mean am I married or priest or religious, just What's my career? What's my major going to be? What are my gifts, and how am I sharing that at the church? But it's about the human relations. Like, programs are great because they can give an opportunity to build the relationships. But I find that's actually, we'd rather just hit play on a video and say, well, it was orthodox.
Yeah.
Okay, well, great. But what they're dying for is
Videos
relationships.
reallifecatholic.com.
That's right,
Go ahead,
exactly. But they're dying for relationships. And we can't just meet them halfway. We have to meet them all the way, because they're also so jaded by adults who just swoop in and out of their lives at all times. I mean, even if you have that great teacher, you get that teacher for a year, and the next year you're with somebody else.
Yeah.
You had that great coach, but that
100%.
coach left. So they are very used to being marketed to and abandoned by adults on a regular basis. When you show up as an adult, it just takes a while for them to trust you. I mean, I think of Sherry Waddell's book. Like, the first question of the threshold of conversion is, can I trust you? Young people, rightfully so, do not trust adults. Yeah. They feel like, you're trying to sell me something, right? You're trying to...
Everyone does.
You're trying to get me... Yeah, that's all I am to everybody, is I'm a marketing thing. You want me to buy this, do this, whatever. And finding the time to build the relationships. We have to earn the right to be heard. Yeah. And then we have to say something worth hearing. It's both. It's a both and with that.
I'm glad you took it there, because I was looking for, and I think most people watching are looking for, what's the formula, dude? Give me the formula. Yeah. And the formula is the incarnation.
Yes.
That's the formula.
That's
which
the formula.
is actually, I'm going to enter your life and spend time.
Yeah.
Which is something we veer away from because it strikes us as weird or unsafe.
Yeah.
Right? Thanks to the clergy abuse crisis. And
right.
there's even policies that make it dang near impossible sometimes.
Right.
To enter the life of a kid for a normal adult who wants to be in a ministerial role.
Right.
And we have to navigate all that. But that is the answer. It's almost...
and there's no other answer.
There isn't.
There's never been another answer.
I wish there was a simple thing.
It's been loving adults, building relationships with young people, helping them mentor them through the very turbulent time of adolescence with a faith-based understanding. And I would say even, here's another stat that people often quote. It's a good, and it can be taken the wrong way. A young person is more likely than not to reflect the religious life of their parents. If you're in a religious family, rock and roll. This is fantastic. Yeah. I was thrilled to hear that stat. If you're not in a religious family, not so bueno, when it comes to that. But I've heard people take that a bit too far, which is to say, well, we know that young people aren't going to be followers of Jesus unless their family is. Okay, that's not what the stat said, but keep going. Yeah. So we really need to focus on family ministry. Okay, I mean, that's nice. And we shouldn't even worry about youth ministry. What are you talking about? But and then I say, well, what is family ministry? And they go, well, like family ministry. Yeah. Like ministry to family. They have no idea what family ministry. I mean, it's bad enough we don't even know what youth ministry is. We don't know what family ministry is in a lot of ways. I always think that the best family ministry is going to be youth ministry. Because when a family has a teenager, as any family with teenagers know, the family goes in crisis mode. Yeah. What just happened to this child that we've had in our house for the past 11 or 12 years? Why are they acting this way? I don't know.
Why did they smell like this?
I felt like I had a grip on being this person's mom or dad, and now I have no idea. Could somebody please help me? Yeah, when the church helps felt needs, the community grows stronger. And it's not just that youth ministry is a Band-Aid for broken families. As a Catholic dad, there's things that my kids can get out of youth ministry that I can't give them. I can't give them peers, that have the same values and faith, opportunities to evangelize, opportunities to serve, all of those things. But for the kid that doesn't have a background in it, I think we've lost, lost is a tough word. It assumes we had it. Yeah. A missionary heart to reach young people. In the history of the United States, Catholicism came to this country not through evangelization, but through immigration. And even the numbers today, the only reason why our numbers aren't plummeting is the continued immigration of other cultures. Yeah, thank you, Mexico. Thank you, Philippines. Yeah. Thank you. I mean, 100%. So many different cultures. They're bringing Catholicism into the United States, and then the United States is essentially just killing it off, generation by generation. And so I would say that many Catholics in the pew, we don't have an imagination for evangelization. We got our faith in our family, And if you're not in the family, well, I guess you're lost. The power of the gospel is bigger than that, you know?
Yep. So gather. This is the urgent thing.
Yeah.
If you're concerned about this, gather people together in your parish who are concerned about it to do something about it.
Yes.
And again, I know some of you are still thinking, but what do we do when we're all together? And that's the question you need to ask when you're all together. And this is going back again to advice you gave me 30 years ago in parish youth ministry.
I'm so impressed.
I logged all these things, Bob.
I can't believe you remember. I don't remember anything.
Like anything
I'm
from 30
excited
years
to hear
ago.
what I said.
I know. No, you said don't start your youth group until your team is in.
Yes.
Coming up with the plan with you. Because Bob, if you do and then you ask them to come alongside you, they're going to feel like they're doing you a favor. Like, I got this thing, would you help me with these details of the thing that I got going on? No. We're doing this together or we're not doing it at all.
Yeah.
You're going to feel that it's going to ride on your shoulders. So that's what gather teams together to ask the question. Most of my life is traveling the country doing evangelistic renewal events for multi-generational at parishes. And I tell them at the events, the outreach teams, do more of this. And what does this mean? I have no idea.
Right.
It means there's no one size fits all answer to the question. Because of course if anybody tells you they're trying to sell you something, because we know the one-size-fits-all answer is reallifecatholic.com/donate.
Of course, yes.
It's the one-size-fits-all question. How do we bring more people to Jesus? So get together and find the question, right?
Yes.
How do we save and listen to and help and really accompany and bring to Jesus this generation of teens? Dude, let the question bug you until your team comes up with the answer.
Yeah. Somebody used a phrase that I might have put in the book, but a holy dissatisfaction. You have to have a holy dissatisfaction that young people are not being ministered with in the church, that we're not serving them well. And the stats are really clear. This is actually old, it's probably worse now, but a Protestant young person has a 2 or 3 times likely more chance to have a youth ministry program than a Catholic kid. And that doesn't make any sense to me.
No, it's
because
awful.
this isn't, we're not talking like in one city to another city. We're talking about like in the same town. This Protestant church somehow is able to throw together enough money to put a really dynamic youth program together.
Yeah.
And we're settling for a part-time volunteer, mom who, and then they say, well, all our kids are going over there. Well, part of it is young people aren't stupid. They're not just, again, attracted by the rock and the smoke and the light and all the other stuff. A young person says, wow, that church over there cares enough about me. Look at all the stuff they're doing to attract me.
Yeah.
And over here, we're meeting in like the 7th grade classroom and like we're not doing anything.
Yeah. Totally.
Why? I would go that way. They're not gonna have enough to be like, but this is Catholic and that's Protestant.
This
It's
one's
like,
correct and this one's incorrect. And here's why.
They're actually going like, I feel loved here. I don't
Yeah.
feel loved here. One youth minister a while ago talked about the relationship of belief, behave, and belonging. And he said, at least implicitly, what we often say, not just to teens, but to everybody. If you believe what we believe and behave as we behave, you can belong where we belong.
Wow.
The problem is, our belief and behavior actually come from our belonging. So the trick is, especially with young people, if they can feel like they belong first, the belonging is going to shape their belief and behaviors.
Wow.
And that is the real challenge, is to say, what can we do in our parish to make young people feel like they belong, like they're valued members of this community, that their voice can be heard, their gifts are honored, we're seeing what they need and how can we help. Some things we did, back in the day that I was surprised more people didn't do, like we talked about midterms, right? Are there native Spanish speakers in your parish that can help give some free tutoring to some teenagers that are struggling with their Spanish class and they're trying to get ready for their thing? Are you a good accountant?
Yeah.
And you can help them with the econ class? Are you a hairdresser that might be able to help some girls before they go to homecoming prom? Like this is beyond like what youth group can we do? It's like, what gifts can our community do? And we can say, you're part of our parish. I'm going to do that for you. I'm going to just do these things for you. And And depending on the
amazing.
dynamics of the parish, everybody has a different gift. Like some people think if I'm going to get involved in youth ministry, I've got to be able to like lead a game and give a talk. Maybe that's your skill set, great. But if you have just a different skill set or passion, bring it. Like bring it. This is old, but like remember when cardio kickboxing was like a really big deal?
Oh yeah, Taibo.
Taibo. Oh my gosh, Billy Blanks.
Yeah, man.
That's right. So I had some leaders that said, "Can we do that
We're
for
gonna have
teens?"
a Taibo competition right now.
Can we do that for teens? I was like, yeah, that sounds great.
You
so
did Taibo for teens?
We did Taibo
So
for
did I.
teens.
I
Nice.
literally did.
Yes.
This was bring it back. We're gonna bring this back.
That's
This
right.
is the answer. This is the answer to the problem.
Taibo for teens, everybody. Trademark. You and me.
That's right.
Dozens of dollars.
We just made
dozens of
tens
dollars.
of dollars.
Tens of dollars, if not dozens.
If not, that's right.
But like you think to yourself, that's really weird. Well, young people actually like to work out. They're very health conscious
Yeah,
because
totally.
they're freaked out about their body image, and they do like community. If you could do something like that at the
Wow.
parish, suddenly like their parish is a cool place that
Can't
helps
believe we
them.
both did that.
Helps them in their but like I want them to see the parish as
awesome.
someplace that actually helps me in my life,
Yeah.
not want something from me.
Amen.
And then if they have that sense, they're very giving. They'll want to give back, and that starts to become the life of community.
You know, the Romans were onto this. If you've been to Bath, England,
Okay.
you see the baths, the saunas,
Yeah.
the whole thing.
Yes.
It was also the place that offer incense to the gods and do worship. It was like the whole.
Right.
It was like a holistic healthcare center.
Yeah, right.
You know, and
Yeah.
it lasted for a really long time until Jesus ruined their whole party.
Yeah, exactly.
One thing I love about this, though, so much bouncing in my head right now. It shows you how to do all ministry, really. Like effective ministry is when the person who's in charge raises people up. That's what Jesus did. He didn't need the apostles.
Right.
I mean, he had all the superpowers, right? But if the person hired if a person who's a young priest has the humility to do this,
Yeah.
right, and the self-confidence to do this. If the person who's hired as a youth minister or a DRE sees my main mission is not to just do it all myself. That's not what Jesus modeled for us.
Right.
It's to raise up the entire community to get involved and to raise up a special team of people that I pour into to get involved. But I love this, the renewing power of youth ministry in the church as a whole is because this is one area where pure evangelization has to happen or someone loses their job.
Yeah, right.
Right?
Yeah.
The rest of the Catholic experience is like, well, we're just kind of inheriting everybody's. We immigrated here in the 1800s.
Right.
We're kind of riding the fumes of that, which are frankly running out pretty fast.
Yeah. Well, and
Youth ministry, there's no fumes to ride.
and that's why I think as we've been around the block many, many times and been doing this for decades.
Speak for yourself. I'm still super young.
I know you are. The makeup looks great, by the way. I don't see any
Thank
lines
you.
whatsoever. We've seen people who are successful in youth ministry become successful in a lot of other ministries. I mean, I would say you're sitting here now. This isn't a youth ministry thing.
No.
But the skills you learn in youth ministry, suddenly it's like, I mean, it's kind of like New York. If you can make it there, you can make it anywhere.
100%.
All of those instincts and evangelistic focus, and I mean, you're running a small business. You got to market it. You're not assuming they're going to show up. You've got to go out and get them. You've got to, listen to them. Yeah, all of that stuff is a huge application to any other way that we approach ministry. And I do get concerned that the more youth ministry diminishes, the less we have those kind of leaders all across the board. I mean, the Eucharistic Congress, the entire team of people.
Isn't that funny?
We're all youth ministers.
I know.
And many of them were in my youth ministry classes.
And half the speakers.
Right. Yeah, all youth
You
ministers.
learned to evangelize there.
Yes, like because you're right, that's the place where you just can't BS it. That you have to it's a raw, I've got to learn, I've got to be docile to the Holy Spirit.
You got to be effective really fast.
Yeah.
With the shortest attention spans in history. It's
Yeah.
kind of like to be a sheriff, you have to spend a couple years in the prison system.
Yeah, right.
And then the occasional guy just stays in the prison system his entire life.
Yeah, exactly.
Bob.
Hey, it's
Or
okay.
like my initial speaking career was chastity assemblies, following
gosh.
after Jason Everett. And it's like, the event I'm going to, everyone would be super happy if they heard that I died on the way there.
Right.
Hey, the chastity speaker had a major car accident and is dead. Like, yeah, he's
Yay!
not coming. I
Right.
mean, that's where I spent years learning how to be convincing in front of people.
Yeah.
But it translates. You better make disciples. It's pure ministry.
But add to that, the biggest thing, and I think you do this well. I mean, you're You're even alluding to it earlier.
Take your
about-
time with this one. When you say,
right,
when you
'cause this
tee it
is
up
good.
with that,
You know,
you
as
do
you
this
talked
well.
about, social media is you, and it's authenticity.
Yeah.
I mean, what young people are more sensitive than anybody else is a sales pitch.
Yeah.
And if you can really convince them, no, I'm really just here because I care for you, because you're part of our community, because you have value. Again, that takes time. But this is like one example would be going to their events, like showing up at some of their sporting events.
Yeah.
Even if, like, you know, I'd had kids in a confirmation class, okay, that's mandatory, they have to be there, they're kind of grumpy about it. I find what is a sporting event that they're at, and I go to it. You want to be strategic. I'd always try to go to the away event a half hour away. Because if you're at the home event, there's a lot of people. But if you're at the away event, you're like one of 15 people in the stands. The other 14 are moms of the parent of these kids who are thrilled that you're there.
Yeah.
You can be seen, but you're just showing, and they see you at that and they go, "What's my confirmation teacher doing here?"
That's cool.
Like, you're just like, what are you doing? It's something that Paul VI wrote in Evangelii Nuntiandi. It's like, when you live among them, it stirs up questions in their mind.
How
like,
awesome.
Why are they here? Why are they like this? What are they doing? Like, getting out of the parish stuff and just showing up from time to time in those environments make them start saying, I think you might be, like, real.
So, some people are thinking, won't I look like a creeper? To which I would say, look, if you're not a creeper, you won't look like a creeper. You won't look like one.
Well, nowadays you go with another person. I mean, you're doing everything out in open but you're just, I mean, all you're doing is encouraging young people from your community, and you're just cheering them on because this is important to them, and you wanted to you go to the play, you do whatever the thing is, you just make the time. It's sacrificial. It's a lessening of yourself. But, you know, the word ministry is actually based in the Latin word minus, which is less
cool.
than. So if you're going to do ministry, you're saying, I'm going to be less than you are.
I will never forget
I'm going to humble
line.
myself there. Yeah,
this is sticking there like those things you told me 30
years
ago.
from now, we'll do another.
We're going to do a show.
It'll be like a AR virtual thing, and
totally.
then we'll be talking.
No,
about
and then I'll say, you told me something 30 years ago, and there'll be like a 15-minute pause, like,
right.
There it is.
There it is.
Wow. Yeah, that's going to be a great day, Bob.
But that is going back to that point, though, I think that's one of the challenges, because we have to give up our rights as adults. We think young people should look up to us just because we're older than they are and we're their elders. To humble ourselves, to minus ourselves, to go to their events, to serve them, to listen to them.
Powerful.
It's very powerful. And by the way, again, Jesus did it. Like, you know, that beautiful reflection from Philippians where he humbled himself to share in our humanity, and even, you know, less still to die on a cross.
And you don't have to be young to do this.
No.
You know, this is and I got to say this. I mean, you're still in youth ministry, not just teaching people how to do it. And this is something I'm experiencing. I was afraid that, you know, getting in front of crowds of youth as I near 50, there'd be no relevance, and I must have had that when I was 20 and 30, and I won't now. I'm actually way more listened to by kids now. Probably partly because they feel like such a mess culturally that they don't even want people who look like them telling them how to live their lives.
Yeah, they have friends their own age, even if they're not great relationships. Just be an adult. You know, just be you. And that's, you know, I often tell that to other adults that feel like the stereotype of, well, do I have to be hip and cool and stuff? It's just be your. I mean, try to be a good version of yourself, but just
you say
be
not
yourself.
everybody could be like Bob Rice.
Yeah, right, exactly.
But
actually, it's more like, look, if I can do it, like I play accordion. If I can do it, you can.
You rock the accordion.
You know,
I wish I had forced you to bring it with you.
Next time.
Let's land this plane on parents and grandparents.
Great.
They're watching. They're thinking, well, I'm not necessarily called to be involved in parish youth ministry.
Sure.
So what do I do? How do I convey this? I have so much passion around this faith. This kid's not interested.
Yeah.
What do I do? How do I make that connection?
I would say a few thoughts on this, and it's not going to be the summary of everything.
No, we could write an entire book on this one.
I mean, we could, and if we could figure it out,
we'd make dozens of dollars.
We'd make dozens of dollars. I would say one thing about adolescents is they need to be invited into experiences. So it's a better thing, you know, maybe as a family, like let's say you pray the rosary as a family. what Jenny and I would try to do is we would say something like, okay, we're going to pray a rosary tonight. We want everybody there for their first decade. And then Mom and I are going to finish off the rosary and you guys can go off and do whatever. So we're doing a little bit of mandatory, but then we're giving him space to accept or reject what's happening. And because the ability, they have to be able to say no to it if they're ever going to fully say yes to it. And I love my kids. I just wish God wouldn't have given them free will, because they make bad choices, right?
Yeah.
And I would also say this. I know, you and I have these conversations with parents and grandparents who are hurting because their kids don't have faith. We can always ask ourselves, what can we do better to pass on the faith? And then there's always young people that make up their own mind and make up their own decisions on things. Like, it's not always our fault, so to speak. I know a lot of parents that are racked with guilt over a kid that's really gone off the rails. 100%. And I say, well, did the other kids go off the rails? Well, no. Okay, well, probably the same parenting things. Like, that's part of becoming an adult as well. And you always have hope. So I would say one of the more effective things to do is inviting them into something that you are doing. Don't tell them to go do something.
Yeah.
If the parish is having a day retreat, you go to the day retreat and you say, do you want to come with me to this? Are we praying? Are you reading a really good spiritual book? Say, you know what, do you want to read this together? It just depends on the young person.
I love that. I love that.
Just have the conversations. Find all the downtimes, like car rides. I'm a huge fan of the Cleveland Cavaliers. It's a moment of silence for what happened this season. But one of the reasons I love it is because I take my kids to games. Steubenville is 2 hours away from Cleveland. That's a little bit of a hike. It's intentional for me.
Wow.
I get 4 hours in the car, one-on-one with my kids.
That's beautiful.
And they break down. Even the most quiet kid, an hour into it, just starts telling me about his or her life.
Wow, that's awesome.
Just being present, doing things together, taking trips.
Yeah.
Like, even thinking, that's okay that it's farther away. The goal is what we might talk about there and back. That's when they start to feel like you're investing in them. You just want to be with them. It's that sense of belonging, right? The belonging then will start leading to the belief and the behavior. But if it's just a constant critique of what's wrong with you and what are you doing, none of us would have responded to that.
Totally.
Either. So,
yeah. It becomes more urgent when there's problems and a lot to critique. Just have fun with your kid.
Yeah.
I think one of the things I lean into or try to as a family the most is just to show that the faith is part of the celebration and beauty of life.
Yeah.
If my kids are passionate about Jesus and they're all practicing the faith, thank God. It's also, for the same reason that they're passionate about Lord of the Rings and a good steak and and good music and the beach and Jesus. Why? Because that's life.
Yeah.
And you dive into life and you experience the full beauty of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe one last thought.
Yeah.
Sometimes we find ourselves burning bridges in relationships.
Yeah.
And, I think of that in my own family dynamics. I've got somebody in my family that I wish I could turn the clock back 20 years of some of the dumb stuff I said. And the Lord is sometimes just saying, you know what? Pray for someone else to share that message with them. Wow. You might not be that person that gets to do that, but you can pray, and specifically prayer and fasting. Like, really just take the time to trust in the Lord. Do what you can in your parish community to lift up people who want to do ministry, advocate for their needs, pray for them, be with them. All of those things, it's always going to be a multi-level, thing. It's not just one thing. But I would say at the heart of it would really be, if you have an active and joyful prayer life that you can invite them into, or at least witness, help them feel like they belong no matter what they believe. That's always going to be the first step for anybody's conversion.
What do you think Jesus was like as a teenager?
One of my favorite things about Pope Francis, was a document he wrote called Christ is Alive. He wrote it after the Synod for Youth. He has a beautiful reflection about Jesus as a teenager.
Really?
He does. Well, one of the things he suggests is that Jesus was probably really normal and fun to be around, because they're so shocked later on when he's doing all these miracles. They say, isn't this the carpenter? Isn't this the carpenter's son? Nobody said in Nazareth, you know what? I always thought that kid was a little weird. Like I always noticed, wasn't his head glowing? I could have sworn his head was glowing when he was younger. Like if you went back in time to Nazareth when Jesus was a teen,
an awesome thought.
you would not have been able to pick him out of a lineup.
Just a typical goofy kid.
Just a typical goofy kid. In fact, Francis suggests that one of the reasons why Mary and Joseph didn't worry about him until the end of the day is he was probably used to just being really social and bouncing around and talking from one group to another. So the fact that they didn't see Jesus during the whole walk away from Jerusalem was like, yeah, that's just Jesus being
come
Jesus.
home and watch The Office 15
yeah,
times.
just kind of, yeah, exactly. Just, and I love those insights. It's like, yeah, like he would have just been a regular kid. And this might be, I know we're trying to land the plane. I have this in the book, but the image for me that always helped me most in doing ministry with young people was that story of finding Jesus in the temple. How beautiful it is that Jesus was 12 years old. And usually when we pray, we can think of 6-pound, 2-ounce baby Jesus, right? Or
his little gold diaper.
Right, or Jesus, Sermon on the Mount, or Jesus on the cross, or Jesus risen from the dead. I would say most people don't meditate and think about 12-year-old Jesus. No. But that's a beautiful biblical image. And I would always encourage my volunteers, maybe this was a little after your time there. I got better, I think, as I went along. But I would just say, next time you pray, and you're talking to Jesus, see him as a 12-year-old, see him as a 13-year-old. Because if you can see Jesus as a teenager, you're going to be able to see Jesus in teenagers. And you're going to be able to help teenagers see Jesus in themselves. We're not asking them to be an older version of something they're not. But Christ is alive. He is there now. He was a teenager. He sanctified adolescents. And he's with them at their age, in their place, in their school. They don't have to follow adult Jesus.
That's awesome.
They can follow 14-year-old Jesus if they're 14 years old. And that's the relationship in the community. That'll change their life.
I think maybe you also don't like to think about teenage Jesus because we don't like to think of ourselves as teenagers.
Right.
And it exposes that.
Yeah.
It's
or we overly romanticize it as a time when we were
Right.
freed of any worries or cares.
Yeah.
And
But that God embraced our humanity that fully, that he entered that awkwardness.
yeah, he went through junior high. I mean, they didn't have that structure, but right. You started off by saying the last thing any of us would want to do is be 13 or 14 years old. If Jesus skipped that, we all would have been like, that was a smart idea to skip that.
Yeah.
He lived it. And isn't it interesting that the one story that we have of Jesus as a teenager involves miscommunication, misunderstanding, anxiety, right?
Yes.
Like that's all happening when Jesus becomes an adolescent. It's the most adolescent response ever for a parent to say, "Where were you?" and him to go, "Why were you looking for me?" Like that is adolescence 101. You know what I'm saying? And if that kind of tension can happen with the immaculate word, the incarnate word, the immaculate conception, and the protector of the church, imagine how messed up it can get when everybody's sinful in that environment. And I think that, again, just shows the importance of the church and the community being there to help parents and young people through it all.
That is powerful.
Amen.
If only someone had written a book about how to do youth ministry. Here it is, Sharing the Gospel with Our Lives, a relational approach to Catholic youth ministry from Bob Rice, forward by Mark Hart. I'm really offended that I wasn't asked to do the forward.
Yeah, but you got a really good quote at the back.
I'm at the back here. If youth ministry has a Yoda, a Gandalf, you get the point. His name is Bob Rice. And I continue with it. Hey, that was high praise right there.
You can forward the next book.
Thank you.
Assuming you'll say yes to it.
No. It's too late now, Bob.
It is too late.
Seriously, this is excellent. I'm not. I've been in ministry for years. I don't read how to do ministry books, to be honest with you, anymore.
Fair.
Like I just, but this I did read really fast.
Yeah.
And I just this
It's
is
a
just,
quick read.
It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really good and it's really practical. It's really down to earth and entertaining at the same time, just like you. All those words, Bob Rice. Also, I want to link below this video to help people with this book, with anything you say we should put on there.
Yeah, I would say The Anxious Generation is a great, it's a secular book, but it's got great stats and things there. I think our friends at Life Teen have fantastic resources for parents and teenagers. Like I said earlier, I think programs can be an effective way to build relationships, and I like those kinds of resources so that youth ministers are spending more time building relationships than figuring out what they're supposed to do.
100%, yeah.
On things.
Right, and it's a rallying cry for them to build relationships around. I'm also a fan of Dead Theologian Society.
Yeah, right. That's another great
one. Life Teen, phenomenal. Steubenville Youth Conferences.
Obviously.
Oh my gosh, life-changing evangelistic experiences. Got to go.
But the emphasis in all of them is when an adult goes with them through these things.
Yeah, that's it.
Those things won't do ministry for you. They will give a great opportunity to do ministry. And there's no shortcut. The answer is what's needed. The answer, you might be afraid of this, is probably you. Getting involved, helping out, being yourself, sharing your gifts, telling other people about it, grassroots. Like that's really, I think, where we're going to see actual ministry.
This applies to quote ministry and just parenting and grandparenting, being an uncle. Like, please don't ever underestimate the power
being
of just
a sponsor.
You. Yeah, just you in somebody's life is life changing.
Yeah.
Let's pray.
Okay.
I want you to just think about teenage Jesus for a second. Let's put ourselves in his presence. Lord, thank you so much for embracing the fullness of our humanity, including our most awkward phase of life, for taking that upon yourself. What a beautiful thought. Thank you, Lord, for revealing to us that even in our messiness, it's okay, that you got us, that you're with us. Help us to convey that love, that message, that presence to all the people in our lives, especially the teenagers who are going through really wild times, trying to figure themselves out, trying to figure this world out. Jesus, help us to bring you just by bringing presence. We pray for renewal in your church in this area, Lord, that we would stop stinking at this and letting young people down. But as parents too, grandparents, uncles, that we'd have a renewed faith just in the power of our presence in the lives of these young people. And Deacon Bob, would you give us a blessing?
Yes. The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
May the blessing of Almighty God be upon you, Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen.
Go in peace and love young people.
Thanks be to God.
Amen.
Thanks, brother. I love you,
Chris.
man. Thanks so much, dude. I love you. Thanks for watching.